Hey everyone, my name is Javen Nunez, and as you can tell by the title of this video, this is going to be my top 5 Marvel movies. At number 5, it is going to be Thor Ragnarok. We knew this movie was going to be different from the trailer that we seen. We knew it was going to be an action and comedy movie. It was going to be a different tone from the last two movies that were shown. You know, coming into this movie, I had high hopes for it. I knew it was going to be fun, it was going to be action-packed, and that's exactly what we got. Some reasons why I love this movie was because it added the Hulk in it. You know, there was a nice little crossover between Thor and Hulk, who didn't take much of the spotlight, which I loved, because usually when you add another character, like someone from the Avengers, into a solo movie, sometimes it can take some of the spotlight away. Some things I really liked about this Thor movie was that it showed a different Thor. Meaning we've seen this Thor without his hammer, but not just temporarily. We've seen Thor without his hammer in Thor 1, but this time it's a little different. We've seen him without his hammer indefinitely because Hela, his sister, destroyed his hammer. So this was like the first time that Thor indefinitely had to live on without his hammer, without, having his muscle, with him, even though he is the god of thunder, and which we see that later in the movie and why his hammer was never the source of his power. We've seen Thor go through many challenges that he couldn't face with his hammer, which he has always done in the past. But I really think that it made him grow as a person and understand that that hammer was never the source of his power. It was always him. It was always him that needed to unlock his potential. And we have really seen him unlock his potential towards the end of the movie. And even we've seen little glimpses of him having his true potential when he's facing against Hulk. So I think that's a little foreshadowing for the end of the movie when he faces against Hela. So yeah, that is at number 5, and I guess we'll see if Thor 4 will make my top 5 list after watching it. It has the potential to, but I guess we'll see. At number 4, my movie is going to be Captain America Civil War. Now, this movie was a turning point for me because it was so exciting to see these heroes that we've known and loved to go against each other. I think we can all agree this was more like Avengers 2.5. Captain America in this film was exactly how we picture him to be. He always fights for what he believes in, and that's exactly what he did in this movie, no matter the cost. So in this movie, Captain America, it really shows his character in it. Also in the other two Captain America movies, it also showed his character. He was always righteous. He always fought for what he believes in, and no matter the cost. So that's what I really liked going into this movie, was that we knew that he was going to be the same thing again. So we got Spider-Man and then Black Panther. So seeing them both in it, it was really exciting, and we knew that leading up to this movie that it was going to be a good one. I've also felt that Team Iron Man was way more powerful, so I didn't feel like Iron Man's team couldn't lose against Captain America's team. Obviously, they had Wanda, but she wasn't the Scarlet Witch at the time. If she was, things would have been different, I feel like. But yeah, that wasn't the case in this movie. So with that being said, we saw both of these characters' introductions in the Marvel Universe, Black Panther and Spider-Man. And I think we can all agree that we fell in love with these characters. I mean, we've seen their solo movies, and they were pretty good. So with all that being said, I did feel like this movie was amazing, and it was just something different than we've seen before, and it was executed perfectly. There was so much at stake here that we didn't know what was going to happen later in the future, which happens in Infinity War. But it was a good movie leading up to Infinity War, knowing why everyone is separated. So I just thought that this movie was really good. At number 3, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. The hype for this movie was pretty big. Going into it, I've had high expectations, just like everyone has had. Of course, the main expectations being that we've seen the other two Spider-Mans, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Also, we've seen in the trailer the previous Spider-Man villains in this movie, which made it more exciting and which made the other two Spider-Mans, it made more sense to bring them into this movie. All the actors that played their villain roles in the previous Spider-Man movies came back and gave a great performance. Willem Dafoe it would seem that he was born to play Green Goblin. He played that role to perfection. Seeing his face expressions and everything, his acting, it just all came together. At first, I felt that I wish he wore his helmet more, but after watching the movie, you kind of see more emotion and kind of like the psychopath of him, seeing his expressions. And at the end of the day, I felt that it was a good decision to remove his helmet and to just see his face and see his acting. He's an amazing actor, and his face expressions are terrifying. And of course, we got other recurring villains returning to this movie. We got Sandman, we got Electro, and then we got Doc Ock and the Lizard. And of course, Doc Ock, he came back from his previous role in Spider-Man 2. So, seeing that actor come back, it was also very nostalgic. And I think he also played that role perfectly. Okay, now the main reason why we love this movie is because we've seen Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield come back to play their Spider-Man roles. There was so much nostalgia watching this movie that I couldn't help but smile throughout the whole movie after seeing them. Hey guys, some footage actually got deleted, but basically what I said was that seeing all three Spider-Man come together in one movie was amazing to see, and definitely a historic moment for all Marvel and Spider-Man fans. And to see Andrew Garfield get praised for the good job he did as playing Spider-Man and his redemption when he caught MJ was a great way to redeem himself and some way find peace in that. But also, not to mention Tobey Maguire, it was amazing to see him play his Spider-Man role. The OG who started it all, and the Spider-Man we all know and love. At number 2, I have Avengers Endgame. What could I say about this movie? This movie was 10 years in the making. It was just everything that we've wanted in a movie and more. And this movie it was a different vibe throughout every scene because this was the first time that we actually have seen the villain actually win. And, we've never, witnessed that in a Marvel movie before. So it was totally different. I would say the time jump that was 5 years was pretty shocking. I think just seeing all that time that has passed by, it was very surreal because we would think somehow the remaining heroes would try and change things back to the way it was. But that wasn't the case this time, because time flew by and Thanos' snap will forever be cemented in their lives. Knowing that the stakes were much higher, and what I really loved about this movie was that it had different types of characters interact with the other types of characters. But also, it had many highlights, like going back into the past to retrieve the stones, and the Hulk snapping his fingers to make them all come back. And also, we can't forget Thor's hammer when Captain America lifted the hammer, showing that he was indeed worthy. And it's something that we've kind of known already from the past movie, from Avengers Age of Ultron. So seeing all that, and memorable scene was the ending scene when Captain America says his famous words, Avengers Assemble. So hearing that and seeing that all come together in 10 years was amazing and worth it. So yeah, that is at number 2 for me, and this movie was really amazing and definitely a memorable one. Alright, at number 1, my number 1 Marvel movie is Avengers Infinity War. This movie was super action-packed from start to finish. I mean, there was just so much hype going into the movie as well, because I remember waiting for the trailer to come out. It was in the morning and it came out and I was going to school, and I think every morning leading up to that day, um, I was always checking YouTube. Maybe they might have dropped the trailer already, because even the trailer was a big deal. We've never seen such a movie this big, all these heroes coming together and fighting for one common goal, which is to fight Thanos. And what I've loved about this movie was they brought all these characters in, but they brought it in such a way where it didn't seem rushed. We got the battle in Wakanda, Black Panther, Captain America, Black Widow, and then we got Vision, Wanda, all there. And of course, we see Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Star-Lord interact for the first time. And those interactions were very funny. They're all so similar in a way. Like, whenever you see them in a scene together, something's going to happen. One of them's going to, tell a joke or something. One of them's going to say something that the other won't like. And that's what we've seen in this movie. Iron Man and Doctor Strange butt heads a little bit, and so do Star-Lord and Iron Man. So, those interactions were highlights of this movie as well, and that's what I've loved, for sure. But also seeing Thanos in this movie for the first time, not only in like a cameo, but this was a movie focused on him. We've seen Thanos, sitting down, but this was the first time that we see Thanos in full form. We've seen him actually take charge, actually take action, and he can't deny his destiny anymore. This is what he's coming to do in Avengers Infinity War. We've seen him get the Soul Stone. That Soul Stone was a mystery, because we never seen the Soul Stone anywhere. We never knew how to get it, where it was, and now we see that in order for them to get the Soul Stone, that you have to sacrifice someone you love. And that was the test for Thanos. That was the test. He needed to, sacrifice someone he loved. And that was basically the point where you knew he wasn't going to deny his destiny. Not again. So he had to make the ultimate sacrifice and, kill Gamora. And that was it. After that, nothing was going to stop him at all. The battle at Wakanda, there's so much at stake going on in this movie. They're trying to get to Vision, to the Mind Stone, and they're trying to prevent that from happening. So there's so much at stake here, and I think that's what really intensifies the movie, is that there's so much action going on that you don't know what's going to happen. I do wish that we see more of Hulk in Infinity War. He was obviously Bruce Banner into, that suit, the Hulkbuster. I wish we seen more Hulk, but overall, this movie was perfect. It's my number one movie. Every scene is so important, and when you see the snap and you see Thanos get all stoned, you're like, okay, what's gonna happen next? But no, this movie ends with Thanos winning. So seeing that was definitely different. With that being said, that is my top 5 Marvel movies. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have, different opinions on these movies. Maybe you have one of them in your top 5. Maybe you don't have any of them. But, these are my top 5. And, feel free to comment your top 5 down below. Or if you feel that, one of my top 5 shouldn't be on here. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy.